Hi, I'm Matt Duffer.
And I'm Ross Duffer, and we're the creators of Stranger Things, and this is an oral history.
Guys, I really think we should turn back.
Did you guys hear that? That's not Will.
I would say the most important part of making the show was casting, and specifically season 1 casting. We knew if we didn't have the right kids, the show was going to collapse. I think we had maybe 2 scripts written and we started casting, so we started working on finding the cast really quickly. The characters, the kids, Mike, Lucas, Dustin, were pretty actually somewhat sketchy. They weren't nearly as interesting or three-dimensional as they are now, and that was because of the kids that we found. So we were just looking for the best, most authentic kids. We didn't want someone to, a lot of these kids, they just sound rehearsed. They don't sound like real kids. A reference point for us obviously is The Goonies. When we were kids and we saw that movie, it resonated with us so deeply because they sounded and spoke like we did with our friends. So that's really what we were looking for, rather than finding a kid who perfectly matched the character that was written on the page. And it was pretty clear right away that who was right for the role.
How do I find you? What should I do?
Oh man, I think to me it sort of defines one of the key traits of the show, which is that, and something we wanted to do from the very beginning, and like the movies that we grew up loving, which is it's about the ordinary and the extraordinary. So you take something that everyone knows and everyone's familiar with, which is Christmas lights, and then you imbue it with something magical. And to me, that image right there defines what the show is about, both in terms of tone and thematically. So I think that might be one reason that it resonates. Also, an amazing Winona Ryder performance.
In terms of figuring out what we wanted our monster to be and to look like, there were a couple things. One is we wanted him to be played by an actor. It ended up being played by an actor named Mark. We wanted it to be a suit. We wanted it to be old school and capture it all on camera, no computer graphics. For the most part in season 1, that's true. There were a couple moments where we did have to rely on CG, but I would say about 95% of it is done entirely practical. So that kind of limits what you can do, but in a good way. Like sometimes limitations are good. And the other thing is we wanted this creature from a distance to look like a human. So that's where the face opening came from, because we needed it from a distance with its face closed to look like a human. So when Will sees it for the first time, or really second time, when he's looking out his window and he sees it among the laundry, there's something very, very human about it. So all of that led to, I guess, or contributed to the ultimate design of the Demogorgon.
And I think what we also wanted to do was just make it so that we talked to our concept artists about it, which is if you're a child and you watch this show and you really like it, can you draw it? Can you sketch it easily? And so that's how sort of the petals came about. And every year that when we are designing a new creature, we think back on that. With CG now, you can make things as complex and quote-unquote realistic as you want, but there's something about the monsters that we grew up loving that there's just a simplicity to it, a childlike simplicity to it. So that's how we approach all of our monsters.
Young lady, you know you have to pay for those. Hey, stop right... Please. You have to pay for those. Stop right there. Thief! Thief!
I think when we came up with the character of 11, we knew we wanted her to have a shaved head very early on. And first of all, we knew she was going to be being experimented on, so it felt very natural. I don't remember her ever not having a shaved head. I think Fury Road came out around the same time, and I do remember thinking Charlize looked particularly cool with a shaved head, so we knew it would make her...
We showed that to Millie to make her feel comfortable in shaving her head, because we're like, look how cool Charlize looks.
And Millie agreed, ultimately. And the nosebleed I mean, it's not like we invented that idea. I think that it's been prevalent and certainly in some Stephen King stories. But, you know, we like the idea of grounding her abilities as much as possible. So we like the idea that it was, you know, causing some pain and in some way that's not something that comes easily to her. So that's something that's been always important with us, to ground as much as possible. I don't remember where the ego idea came from.
I think it came more from, we remembered movies of our childhood and youth, even something like E.T., where you've got E.T. loving his Reese's Pieces. And so I think when we were thinking about 11, what would she like, we were thinking about the products from our childhood, and Eggos popped into our head, and we love that idea of combining sort of a classic brand with this young human who hadn't really experienced life at all, and certainly hadn't experienced the 80s.
Or Eggos.
But we had no idea that Eggos would become that much of a thing. We're just like, this is something 11 could eat.
Whenever you're making the show, you never know what is gonna resonate with people or not.
Will, are you okay?
Sometime in the breaking of season 1, Netflix asked us for a document explaining all the mythology. They just wanted to make sure we knew what was going on, because there are a lot of strange things happening in the show, of course. And so we wrote up this 20-some page document, and it explained a lot of things about the show, including Eleven's powers and about the Upside Down. And it explained exactly what it was. But we told them we still want it to be a mystery, but we're gonna reveal it over the course of subsequent seasons. And now, here we are, season 5, so it's finally time to explain what it is. So we're excited for people and our characters to finally understand what this place is. But we started to lay the seeds, hopefully, to this ultimate reveal in season 2.
Ah, this must be our new student. Please welcome, all the way from sunny California, Maxine.
It's Max.
We enjoy adding new characters because it just shakes up the dynamics of the group. So we knew, for instance, adding Max would, you know, a girl who's not 11 getting pulled into this boy group would cause sort of all sorts of interesting friction and dynamics. And then you wind up with an incredible character, Max, an incredible actress in Sadie Sink. And ever since then, we kind of became hooked on the idea of introducing new characters. And sometimes they are supposed to be minor characters. They become a little bit more prevalent or more important than we thought they were going to be. Like an example would be Bob in season 2. He was supposed to be a very, very minor character, a doofus boyfriend to Joyce, and he was going to get killed off in episode 2 or 3. We fell in love with Sean Astin. He was so different than the Bob we had in our heads, so much more lovable and endearing. We loved Sean and we loved writing for him, so we put off his death as long as humanly possible. But you know, it's just fun to introduce new actors into the cast. It just shakes things up in an exciting way. We miss Bob. I mean, it was very hard to kill Bob. Killing Bob and Eddie were two of the hardest things to do and things to write. The Battle of the Star Corps is one of our favorite episodes. I mean, it's, you know, for one, it has our favorite location, which is the mall. I mean, to this day, it was the most fun location to shoot in, and I think all the cast feels the same way. So having a giant monster attack inside the mall was a blast. I mean, I love when the mind flayer drops through the skylights. We were lucky that there were skylights above, so you know, we lucked out. I love when they're hiding in the food court behind the car, peering out, looking at it, hiding inside the gap. It was just so fun to demolish this mall that we had been in all year.
Something I've been wanting to talk to you both about. I know this is a difficult conversation, but I care about you both very much.
making season 1 with both Millie and David, and they're both powerhouse performances, which is why we, in season 2, gave them this sort of father-daughter dynamic, and it also worked really well with Hopper's arc, which is he's lost a daughter, so if he gains one, how will that help him heal? And so that really is over the course, about his journey over the course of the season.
But I would say the letter specifically, I remember that idea because we were gonna have Hopper sacrifice himself at the end of season 3. We still at that point, weren't sure. Eventually we decided he was gonna still be alive because we couldn't part with that character and he still had some growing to do. But because of the way that climax was structured, Hopper was not gonna have an ability to say any sort of parting words or have any sort of closure with Eleven. And then one of our writers reminded us that he had been writing a letter to her early on in the season, and what if she found that? And we thought that was a brilliant idea, and we wrote this letter, and David delivered it beautifully, and Millie said, I don't want to hear it until we're shooting it. So she heard it for the first time while we were filming that, and so her reaction and emotions are very real and very raw, and I think that's one reason it's resonated with so many people.
I don't know how to say this other than just to say it. Without you, we can't win this war.
I mean, we had a blast writing season 3. I mean, it was our sort of summer popcorn blockbuster season, and we want each season to feel very different. We kind of think of every season as a massive movie, and we just wanted to change things up for season 3, and then once we scratched that itch, we wanted to kind of pivot directions and basically do the opposite, which is make something much darker. And it felt like the right time to do it because our characters were heading into high school. Ross and I think a lot of other people had miserable high school experiences. That's when things get more serious and darker, and we wanted that reflected in the tone of the season. And it also, we'd always wanted to kind of do our Nightmare on Elm Street season. Nightmare on Elm Street, fairly dark. That was another reason the show became as dark as it did.
It's right here, it's right here. I got it. Now!
When we were working on season 1 with The Clash, Should I Say, Should I Go, where I think what we got excited about was not just the power of music to bring you back into a specific period of time or to be nostalgic or just to be an exciting song. What got us excited was that we can use music to help further our narrative. And obviously, even with season 2, with The Clash, our characters brought it back in order to reach Will and communicate with him. And so that was really one of the first instances where music became not just about character, but it was actually forwarding the narrative. And so it was sort of a natural progression to go from there to what we ended up doing with Running Up That Hill and Master of Puppets with Metallica. And we wanted to continue that, the importance of music and the power of music as we moved forward into season 5.
But like specifically as far as Running Up the Hill is concerned, I mean, it does always come down to character. I mean, we weren't going, hey, we really want to get the song Running Up the Hill in the show. We knew that Max was going to have this moment at the end of Dear Billy, and that music was ultimately going to be what was going to save her. So we knew whatever song we picked was going to be important. And me, Ross, and our music supervisor kind of separately built out Max playlists. We wanted to explore what Max was listening to, what felt realistic in terms of what was out at the time and what she would be into. And we all had Running Up That Hill on our playlist. That was the one song that overlapped all 3 playlists. So we decided that that's got to be the one. But the fact that it resonated with so many people and became as big as it did, that was a surprise, I will say.
But awesome.
Very happy surprise.
Who's cooler than Kate Bush?
Yeah, it couldn't happen to a cooler, nicer artist. I mean, Kate's been nothing but incredible and supportive.
But I was far from free. I woke up from my coma only to find myself placed in the care of a doctor.
Jamie Campbell Bower is, we're lucky we found him. I think he's just an incredible performer. The fact that he's able to do Vecna and Henry so well. It always impresses us. His range impresses us. We knew he could deliver anything we threw his way. So we wrote a massive monologue for him. He nailed it every time that he read it. And I think the key for us and for Jamie is that we're writing something that we feel is not just true to the character, but there's some valid arguments that he's making. It's not maniacal in a way. I mean, he certainly has a distorted and sort of perverse view of the world, but you kind of get into his mindset and try to understand where he's coming from and write it in a way that feels believable. So when Jamie's saying those words, he convinces himself that everything he's saying is true, that he believes it deeply to his core.
And I remember when we were doing the auditions for that role, one of the sides that we gave people was from Primal Fear, because we always remembered watching that amazing Edward Norton performance and that shift from someone that you believed could be so kind and gentle, and then that flip and he got so cold in the eyes, and that twist shocked us when we watched it the first time. And so that's the scene that we gave everyone. When we saw Jamie do that scene and do the Edward Norton performance, it was chilling. So we knew from then on that he would be able to crush any monologue we threw his way.
And we had him also read scenes from Hellraiser as Pinhead, because those lines are very hard to pull off. Jamie was the only one out of hundreds who could read those lines and make them not sound absolutely
to
cheesy.
Say I'll tear your soul apart and not make people chuckle, but make them go still with fear is a true challenge, and Jamie just crushed it. He's got that deep voice, and he's an incredible actor. So it's scary. It's scary when he goes full Vecna.
We find Vecna. We end this once and for all. Together.
My gut is it's going to be very emotional for fans, especially those who've been on the journey for the last 10 years with us, but even the newer fans who are just finding the show, because it was hard for us and it was hard for our actors, because it's a world and characters that we've all fallen in love with, and it's been really hard saying goodbye. This is the end of the story. Eleven and Max and Mike and Joyce and all the characters in the show. We're firmly shutting the door. So, especially in Volume 2, things get very emotional. As far as how worried they should be, I would be a little bit worried.
Yeah, things are not going great for our heroes in Hawkins. So they get definitely dire at many points.
Yeah, this is Endgame, so
Endgame.
Anything can happen.
That's right.
After what we've been through, this thing, it ties us together.
Well, in some ways, Matt and I we grew up as movie guys, and so anytime we sort of approached a new season, we looked at it as a movie sequel. We wanted to continue to up the scale and the cinematic qualities of it. And so, when we're mixing it, when we're coloring it, when we're filming it, we're treating it as if it is a big blockbuster movie. So we are really excited that some fans are going to be able to experience the finale in theaters this year, because you're going to hear it the way we're hearing it when we mixed it, with Atmos sound on a big screen. But the one thing that we haven't been able to experience, really, which they will and we will on that day, is to be able to watch this show not just with a couple friends, but with a couple hundred fans, and to see them react, and to have that communal experience is something that we're just so excited about. It's just something we've been dreaming about for years.
Yeah, no, it's exciting for people to see it exactly as we're seeing it, but listen, I hopefully the show, Ross and I are very careful, and so is everybody else who works on the show, that it translates to every device. It's tricky, but we look at it on laptop and iPad and televisions and every version of a soundbar to make sure that it works in every possible environment. You don't have to have Atmos in your house, though if you do, it will sound excellent. But please don't watch it on your cell phone. That's just depressing, and for us and for everyone who works on the show.
to help me.
A lot about season 5 was going full circle, and as we were breaking it, it was just going back to these earlier seasons and making sure we were tying up any loose ends. And two things that we've been wanting to do for years is to bring Kali back and to show that Will does in fact have power. So those are two things we wanted to do right away. And as you see, they do happen near the end of volume 1, but you're going to see a continuing of those storylines, and Kali's going to be involved in a major way in the rest of the story and Eleven's journey in her arc, which we're really excited about. And you're going to continue to see and understand Will's powers, and can he use this to help sort of defeat Vecna and the evil that's been plaguing him all these years. So it felt like those two things really needed to happen in order for the show to feel like it was coming to a definitive end.
I need you to fight one last time. Let's end this, kid.
The last day of shooting was one of the most, I would say, emotional days of our lives. And I mean, the cast can speak to it, but it was very emotional for them as well. I mean, the way we were able to structure it was that every actor's last scene was their last day. So every actor's last day was extremely emotional. The last day, the very, very last day, was particularly emotional because we weren't just saying goodbye to and wrapping a lot of our last actors, but we were saying goodbye to the show for good. So there were a lot of tears. I mean, everyone's last day, everyone came in crying, and so we always had to. Everyone needed to calm down because it was like, your scene's sad, but it's not sad yet. So we can't be sobbing already. But no, it was a very emotional time for everybody.